Hello and welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are going to do something a little different.
A little bit, yeah.
Usually, we take a massive stack of articles, research papers, and hot takes, throw them all into a blender, and pour you a smoothie of what's happening right now.
Right. The state of play.
But today we are going back to school.
We are. And honestly, I think it's for a very good reason. We are staring at, arguably, the single most complex intersection in the technology world right now.
Your question.
You have cybersecurity on one side, which is, it's the immovable object, the fortress we spent decades building. And on the other side, you have artificial intelligence.
The irresistible force.
The irresistible force that is just reshaping everything it touches.
And when those two forces collide, it's messy. It's incredibly loud. And for the people who are actually charged with managing it, it can be completely overwhelming.
It's a lot to handle.
It's not just about how do I put a password on my chatbot anymore, is it?
Oh, far from it. That's the 101 level of thinking. We are way, way past that now.
Right. It's about securing the AI system itself, which is a beast. But it's also about using AI to fight cyber threats, making our shields smarter.
Yep.
And maybe the most terrifying part, and we will get into this, it's about defending ourselves against bad actors who are using their own weaponized AI to come after us.
It's a three-front war. That's a perfect way to put it.
A three-front war.
Exactly. You have the target, the weapon, and the shield. And AI is now playing all three of those roles, sometimes at the same time. And if you're a chief information security officer, a CISO, that's a nightmare scenario.
So to make sense of this chaos, we aren't just summarizing the news today. We are looking at a very specific, very important tool designed to help people navigate this war.
The source material for today.
Exactly. We are looking at the NIST internal report 8596 Ian Thurner's StackPard. Now, that IPARD stands for Initial Preliminary Draft, and this was released back in December 2025. It is officially titled the Cybersecurity Framework Profile for Artificial Intelligence.
But we're going to call it the Cyber AI Profile because, we value our time.
Exactly. And, this is our mission for today's deep dive. If you go online and download this document, you are going to see that it is massive. It is intimidating.
It's dense.
It's dense. And most people, I think, they open it, they see this wall of giant tables, and they just close it immediately.
I've seen it happen.
Our goal today is to stop you from closing it. We are going to act as your instructors.
Think of us as your TAs for this seminar. Your guides.
We are going to teach you how to read this document. We aren't just reading the findings to you, we're explaining the structure. Specifically, we're going to unpack Clause 2.2.
And Clause 2.2 is, it's essentially the user manual for the whole profile. It's the legend on the map.
That's a good way to put it.
If you skip Clause 2.2, the rest of the document is just a giant, incomprehensible wall of text and numbers. But if you understand Clause 2.2, the whole thing just unlocks. It becomes a usable tool.
I like the metaphor we were kicking around before we started. Imagine you have a house. You have a foundation, you've got walls, windows, doors, and all of that represents your standard cybersecurity practices, your firewalls, your employee training, your identity management. That house already exists.
Right. You spent years building it. You don't need to bulldoze the house just because you bought a smart speaker.
Exactly. This document, this profile, it isn't a bulldozer, it's a lens. It's a specialized filter you slide over that existing house. And when you look through that lens, it highlights the specific cracks in the foundation or maybe a weak window latch that are caused specifically by AI.
That is a very apt metaphor. It's an overlay.
Yeah.
It does not replace what you're already doing. It contextualizes it for this new world where software can learn and adapt and, occasionally hallucinate.
So let's get into that architecture. When you open this document, you get past the intro, past the acknowledgments, and you hit the meat of it. And the meat is just tables, giant landscape-oriented tables.
6 of them, to be precise.
Yeah.
Tables 1 through 6. It's the bulk of the report.
And these aren't random numbers. If you're a fan of the NIST cybersecurity framework, the CSF, you'll recognize the logic here immediately.
Oh, absolutely. The tables correspond exactly to the 6 functions of CSF 2.0.
So that's
govern, identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover.
So Table 1 is all about governance. Table 2 is identify, Table 3 is protect, and so on.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And visually, for those listening who might not have the PDF open in front of them, maybe you're driving, maybe you're at the gym, imagine a massive grid, a spreadsheet from heaven or hell, depending on your perspective.
Right.
Down the left-hand side, you have the standard cybersecurity tasks you've been doing for years. And then stretching out to the right are all these columns that translate those tasks into AI speak.
And that grid structure is what we are going to decode. We are going to move through these tables from left to right, column by column, just like Clause 2.2 tells us to. Because every single column forces you to ask a different question about your security posture.
It's a very logical flow, but if you don't know what the headers mean, you'll get completely lost.
You'll drown in the data.
You really have to read this horizontally, not vertically. That's the key.
So let's start at the far left, column 1. This is labeled the CSF core.
This is your anchor. This is home base. This column lists the functions, the categories, and the subcategories directly from the NIST CSF 2.0.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit. Why start here? Why not just jump straight into the cool new AI stuff? If I'm worried about a deepfake, why am I looking at a governance control from, 2024?
Because you cannot secure AI in a vacuum. I mean, that is the single biggest mistake organizations are making right now.
How so?
They treat AI security as this alien separate discipline. They spin up a specialized red team for AI, but they completely disconnect it from the regular patch management or the regular HR policies or their vendor management.
So column 1 is basically saying, hey, remember that security program you already spent 10 years and $10 million building? Start there.
Exactly. It's the foundation. It lists the familiar alphanumeric codes, things like GV.OC01.
Which is, let me pull it up. The organizational mission is understood and informs cybersecurity risk management.
Right. A totally standard, fundamental cybersecurity requirement. That hasn't changed just because you installed a large language model. But by putting it there, right in column 1, the profile is saying, start here. Do you have this basic thing down first?
It's the common language. It's the Rosetta Stone. It ensures that the data scientists who are building the AI and the legacy IT security folks guarding the network are looking at the same row of the spreadsheet.
It bridges the gap. It really does. The AI team might speak weights and biases, and the security team speaks confidentiality and integrity. Column 1 forces them to speak NIST. It grounds the novelty of AI and the stability of established frameworks.
Okay, so we have our anchor. We know where we are. Now we move 1 inch to the right on the page. We enter column 2. General considerations.
This is an interesting column. It's the catch-all, in a way.
It feels like the universal truths section of the document.
I like that, yes. The text defines these as non-exhaustive AI-related considerations that apply across more than one focus area. Now, we haven't defined the focus areas yet. We'll get there in a second. But essentially, if a piece of advice is so broad that it applies to securing the AI, defending with the AI, and fighting off AI, it goes here.
Okay, so give us a concrete example. What kind of advice is broad enough to live in this column?
Well, governance topics are a big one. Legal considerations often sit here.
Okay.
Let's say you look at a subcategory from the CSF core, something like supply chain risk management. Very standard thing.
Right, checking your vendors.
Exactly. The general consideration in column 2 for that row might be something like, ensure your organization understands the legal and privacy implications of using third-party AI models and their training data.
Ah, okay.
That advice applies whether you're securing the model, defending with the model, or fighting an attack that uses a similar model. It's a blanket statement. It's about liability. It's about privacy. It's about data sovereignty.
So this column helps you prioritize. It gives you the broad context before you dive into the really technical weeds in the next columns.
Correct. It sets the mood, so to speak, for that specific row. It's saying, before you split your brain into 3 different directions, here is the overarching AI reality you need to acknowledge.
It acts as the adult in the room.
Yes, that's it. While the engineers are geeking out on the next columns, column 2 is the general counsel standing in the corner of the room, tapping their pen and saying, don't forget we can get sued for this.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Now we get to the complex part. This is where it gets a little wild. Column 3.
The beast.
The header just says, focus area proposed priorities and considerations. But visually, it's not really just one column, is it? It explodes.
No, it is not. This is where the document splits into 3 distinct sub-columns. This is the absolute heart of the cyber AI profile.
These are the 3 pillars we touched on in the intro. And to really understand how to read these sub-columns, we have to understand what the pillars actually are. Clause 2.2 references Clause 2.1 here, so let's define them. The pillars are secure, defend, and thwart.
Simple names, but they carry incredibly complex implications. Let's break them down one by one, because if you get these confused, the whole table is useless.
Okay, first up, secure. The full title is Securing AI System Components.
This is probably what most people think of when they hear AI security. This is about managing the risks when you bring AI into your house.
So this is about protection. This is about defense.
It's about the AI as an asset. You have brought AI into your ecosystem. You have models, you have training data, you have infrastructure like GPUs. How do you make sure they don't get stolen? How do you make sure they don't get broken or, poisoned?
So this is asking, I bought this chatbot or I built this predictive model. How do I make sure no one injects malicious code into it? How do I make sure the data doesn't leak out of it?
Precisely. It is inward-facing security. It is treating the AI software just like you would treat a critical database or a web server. You lock the doors, you patch the vulnerabilities, you monitor the access.
Okay, so secure is defense of the asset. The AI is the thing you are protecting.
Correct.
Next pillar is defend, full title. Conducting AI-enabled cyber defense.
This is the flip side. This is where AI is the hero of the story. This focus area looks at how we can use AI to help the cybersecurity team.
So this is AI as a teammate, the sidekick.
Exactly.
Huh.
This is using machine learning to sift through 1 million log files in a second to find that one anomaly that a human would miss after staring at the screen for 8 hours.
Or, using a Gen AI model to write a summary of a security incident so the CISO doesn't have to wade through raw code and packet captures at 3 a.m.
It's about efficiency. It's about better detection. It's about automation. It is the good guy use case for the technology. Using AI as a force multiplier for your human defenders.
Makes sense. And finally, the third pillar, the ominous one, thwart. The full title is Thwarting AI-enabled cyber attacks.
This is the adversary. This focus area operates on the assumption that the bad guys have ChatGPT too. Or, more likely, they have sophisticated, custom-built AI agents designed specifically to crack your passwords or write flawless, hyper-personalized phishing emails.
So thwart is about building resilience against a superpowered enemy.
It is the bad guy use case. And this is a really, really important distinction. Secure is about stopping someone from breaking your AI. Thwart is about stopping an AI from breaking you.
That's a subtle but massive difference. Give me a scary but realistic example of a thwart scenario.
Deepfakes. A generative AI that calls your IT help desk, sounding exactly like your CEO, maybe even referencing a recent internal meeting to sound convincing, and it's asking for a password reset for a critical system.
Terrifying. That bypasses a lot of human-based verification.
Or malware that rewrites its own code in real time to avoid detection by your antivirus software. That's called polymorphic malware. It's been a concept for years, but AI makes it trivial to execute. That is an AI-enabled attack. And the thwart column is where we figure out how to stop it.
Now, here's where it gets really fascinating, and the source material makes a big point of this. These three areas are not silos. They don't exist in isolation.
No, they don't. Not at all. Clause 2.2 explicitly references Figure 1 in the document, which is a Venn diagram showing them all overlapping. And the relationships between them are critical for reading the table correctly.
Let's talk about those overlaps, because I think this helps the listener visualize the overall strategy here.
Okay, so think about it like this. Secure enables defend.
How so? Explain that link.
Well, if your AI system isn't secure, if the machine learning model you're using to detect threats has been hacked or its data has been poisoned, then you can't trust it to defend.
You're using a compromised tool.
You're flying blind. You can't rely on a compromised shield. So the security of your AI assets is the foundation for being able to use AI in your defense.
That makes perfect sense. And what about the link with thwart?
Thwart informs secure. This is about intelligence. If you study how the bad guys are using AI to attack you, thwart, that knowledge tells you exactly how you need to lock down your own systems. Secure. You see them using deepfakes, so you improve your biometric security.
It's intelligence gathering for your defense.
Exactly. And to complete the circle, defend, protect, secure. You use your AI-enabled defense tools to wrap a protective layer around your critical AI assets. You use your smart anomaly detection to see if anyone is tampering with your models.
So when our listener is reading this document, looking at that third column with its 3 subparts, they have to mentally shift gears constantly. They look at a single cybersecurity task, say identity management, and they have to ask 3 completely different questions.
So 1, how does this change if I'm securing the AI itself?
2,
2, how does this change if I'm defending my enterprise with AI? And 3, how does this change if I'm trying to thwart an AI that's attacking me?
That is the triple check mindset this profile demands. It sounds exhausting, honestly.
It is exhausting.
Right.
But it's absolutely necessary. If you miss one of those angles, you are leaving a massive door wide open.
Okay, so let's zoom in even further. We've established the three pillars. Now let's go inside one of them. We are inside column 3. We are looking at one of these pillars. Let's say we're in the secure subcolumn. Inside that column, there are even more subdivisions. We are getting into the atomic level of the profile now.
This is where the specific guidance lives. This is the actionable stuff. Inside each focus area column, you generally find 4 types of information, 4 little subcolumns.
Let's walk through them one by one. First, you have subcolumn A, proposed priority. And you just see numbers here, 1, 2, or 3.
And this is a place where people often get tripped up. It's a common misunderstanding.
Right, because usually in project management, priority 1 means do it now, and priority 3 means get to it whenever. Or people assume priority implies difficulty, like priority 1 is the big, hard, expensive thing.
And the document is very, very clear that this is not the case.
So what does it mean?
Priority reflects importance to the objective, not difficulty or urgency.
Explain that distinction for us. That's a critical point.
Okay, a priority 1, high item, might be technically very simple to do. For example, a subcategory might be maintain an inventory of your AI models.
That's just a spreadsheet, basically.
It's just a spreadsheet. It's easy. But if you don't do it, your AI security program completely falls apart.
Yeah.
You cannot protect what you don't know you have. Therefore, because it is so fundamental, it is priority 1.
Yeah, I see. It's about criticality, not complexity.
Exactly. Conversely, a priority 3, low item, might be incredibly complex to implement. Maybe it involves advanced cryptographic techniques like homomorphic encryption. It's hard, it's expensive. But if you skip it, your system doesn't immediately collapse. It's a nice to have for a mature program. So it gets a 3.
And the document also puts a huge disclaimer on this, right? It says something like, this is a subjective exercise.
A massive disclaimer. It's all over this section. These priorities are based on NIST's observations and workshops with subject matter experts. They are guidance, not law. The document explicitly says an organization can and absolutely should change these numbers based on their own risk tolerance and their specific context.
So if I'm running a top-secret government research lab, a priority 3 item in this document might be a priority 1 for me because of the data I'm handling.
Exactly. Context is king. If you are a public library using AI to sort books, your priorities are going to be fundamentally different than the bank using AI to approve multi-million-dollar loans.
Okay, that clarifies the priority scale. Let's move to the next piece of info in the cell. Subcolumn B, sample opportunities. Now this one is unique. I noticed looking at the tables that this subcolumn only appears under the defend focus area. Why is that?
Think back to our definitions. Secure is about risk management. It's about minimizing the downside. Thwart is about resilience surviving attacks.
They're both defensive postures.
Right. Defend is the only area focused on using AI to help us. It's a net positive. It's about adding capability.
So defend gets a special box for, hey, look at the cool stuff you can do with AI.
Correct. This is where the document lists things like use AI to sift through security alerts or use AI to automate compliance checks. It's the optimistic column. It's the what's in it for me section for the security team.
But I also noticed that not every row has an opportunity listed. Some are just blank.
And that's important because sometimes AI just doesn't help. The document is refreshingly honest about that. It literally says not every subcategory will have an opportunity listed.
So if AI doesn't make physical access control better, if you still just need a good lock on the server room door, they leave it blank.
Right. They aren't forcing the technology where it doesn't fit. They're not trying to sell you AI.
I really appreciate that honesty. It keeps it from feeling like a sales brochure for AI vendors.
Agreed. It maintains the integrity of the guidance.
Okay, next up, subcolumn C, sample focus area considerations. This is the text. This is the bulk of what you see in the cell.
This is the meat. These are the actionable thoughts, the specific pieces of advice derived from all those workshops and literature reviews NIST conducted.
And there is one phrase that appears here over and over and over again. I swear I saw it 50 times scrolling through.
I know exactly the one you mean. Standard cybersecurity practices apply.
Yes, that one. Standard cybersecurity practices apply.
Why do they keep saying that? It feels almost repetitive or like a filler phrase.
It is the most important sentence in the entire document.
Really, more important than all the fancy AI advice.
Right, yeah.
Why? Because when a new technology like AI arrives, the temptation for everyone is to panic.
Right.
We feel this urge to invent entirely new security protocols for everything. We think, oh, it's a neural network, so regular firewalls won't work. My password policy is suddenly obsolete.
The shiny object syndrome. We think the new toy needs a whole new set of rules.
And NIST is using this phrase as a giant brake pedal. They are saying, calm down. They are saying, math is math, software is software, a server is a server. If the cell says standard cybersecurity practices apply, it means there is no unique AI consideration for that specific task.
So your existing program is sufficient.
Your existing program, if it's a good one, is sufficient.
So if I see that phrase, I don't need to go out and buy a fancy new AI-powered security tool for that specific row.
Exactly. It prevents you from wasting money and effort. It essentially says, the wheel is fine for this problem, do not reinvent it. It's a huge cost-saving piece of advice, actually.
That is actually really reassuring. It simplifies the problem set enormously.
It also explains why some items are marked priority 1 or 2, even if there's no other specific AI text. It just means this standard practice is still super important, even if the method hasn't changed. Do not neglect it.
Got it. Now, there is a nuance for the defend column here too, right, with the considerations.
Yes. If you see a consideration under the defend pillar, it is strictly related to the opportunities listed in the cell next to it.
So it's a but.
It's the but, exactly. So if the opportunity is use AI to read security logs, the consideration might be make sure the AI doesn't hallucinate when reading the logs and send your team on a wild goose chase.
It's the risk of the benefit.
Precisely. It's the warning label on the medicine bottle.
Okay, that makes sense. Finally, the last piece of the puzzle in the cell. Subcolumn D, example informative references. This is basically the bibliography of the cell.
It is. This lists pointers to other documents, laws, standards, guidelines, research papers. You'll see references to things like NIST, SP 853, OWASP, ENISA, sometimes even the EU AI Act.
What's the purpose of this? Is it just NIST showing their work?
That's part of it, showing the provenance of the idea. But practically, it's a how-to library for you, the user.
Ah.
If the cyber AI profile tells you what to do, these references tell you where to look to find out how to do it in detail.
So if the profile says you need to validate your AI model, the reference might point to the specific ISO standard that explains the mathematical techniques for model validation.
Exactly. Connects the what to the how. But I noticed a lot of blanks in this column, too.
Me too. Lots of empty cells under the references.
And that's a direct reflection of the initial preliminary draft status. The document explicitly admits there are gaps here. NIST is actively seeking input from the community to fill in these blanks. The text says, further literature review is ongoing.
So if you're listening and you're an expert in, say, securing large language models and you know a great standard that isn't listed here, NIST genuinely wants to hear from you.
Please email them. The community needs to help fill those blanks. This is a crowdsourced effort in many ways.
I noticed specifically they reference NIST SP 853 a lot. Those are the specific control codes, right?
Yes. Things like PM11, ACs 01, these are specific security controls from the big federal catalog. They link back to the National Online Informative Reference, or OLIR, catalog. Again, it's all about anchoring the new AI stuff in the established government standards.
So we've broken down the columns. We have the CSF core, the general considerations, and then the three big pillars, secure, defend, and thwart, with their own little subcolumns for priorities, opportunities, considerations, and references.
That is the complete anatomy of a row in the table.
Now, I want to try something. I want to synthesize all this. I want to walk through the mental process of reading a single row horizontally from left to right, because that's how a human actually uses this document, right?
Ideally, yes. You don't read down one column. You read across the row to get the full 360-degree story of that one security control.
Okay, let's pick a hypothetical example based on the text. Let's talk about something everyone understands. Identities. The outcome in the CSF core is essentially identities are managed and authenticated.
Okay, a classic. So, mental walkthrough. Imagine your fingers on the paper.
Step 1. You look at column 1, CSF core, ID.AM01. Identities and credentials are managed for authorized devices, users, and other assets. You say, okay, I know how to do that. I use Active Directory. I use multi-factor authentication, MFA. I have onboarding and offboarding policies for new hires.
You feel safe. You feel compliant with the basic CSF. You check the box.
Step 2, slide your finger to the right. Check general considerations.
The document might say something along the lines of, ensure non-person entities, such as AI agents and services, are accounted for in the organization's identity governance program.
Whoa, okay. That's a warning shot across the bow.
Right. It's a broad reminder. AI agents are users too. If you have an autonomous agent that can read email, access files, and schedule meetings, that agent needs an identity. It needs to be managed just like a human employee.
Step 3. We hit the pillars. First, secure. Securing AI system components.
The question here is, do the components of my AI system itself need identities? Do my models need an ID? Does my training data pipeline need a unique credential to access the data warehouse?
And the profile likely suggests this is a priority 1.
Absolutely. Because if you don't know who or what is accessing your valuable model weights, you have no security. So the consideration is something like assign unique, non-spoofable IDs to AI agents, models, and other system components. You need to know in your logs if chatbot version 1 or chatbot version 2 access the customer database.
Okay, step 4. Defend. Conducting AI-enabled cyber defense.
Now we flip the script, we ask, can AI help me manage identities better?
And there's likely an opportunity listed here.
Absolutely. AI is great at spotting weird behavior. So the opportunity is use AI and machine learning to detect anomalous login patterns or credential usage that a static rule would miss. User logging in from 2 countries at once.
But then we have to look at the consideration for that opportunity, the warning label.
Right. The risk might be, what if the AI flags the CEO's legitimate travel as a hack and locks them out of their account an hour before a board meeting? So the consideration is about tuning the model to avoid false positives and having a clear process for overrides.
Okay, that's a good one. Step 5, the last one. Thwart. Thwarting AI-enabled cyber attacks.
Now we put on our black hat. We look at the bad guy. How can they use AI to attack our identities?
Deepfake voices.
Deepfake voices. AI-generated phishing emails that are perfectly written and tailored to each recipient. Voice cloning to bypass phone-based verification systems.
So the priority here is likely high.
And the consideration is?
The consideration might be strengthen biometric verification with liveness detection because AI can now spoof voices and faces. Or move to more phishing-resistant authenticators like hardware security keys because AI can now automate the process of tricking users into giving up their one-time passcodes. So let's just pause and look at what just happened. We started with manage identities, a boring standard task from a 10-year-old framework. By the time we finished reading that one row, we realized our to-do list now includes 1. Figure out how to give our bots an ID card. 2. Use other bots to watch our human logins. And 3. Upgrade our entire authentication system because the bad bots can talk exactly like us.
That is the power of the matrix. That is what it does. It forces that multidimensional thinking for every single control. If you had just stayed in column 1, you would feel secure, but you would be profoundly vulnerable.
It's intense.
It is, but so is the threat.
I want to do one more quick example just to really drive this home for everyone. Let's pick one from a different function. Let's talk about incident response. Column 1. RSMA01. Incidents are detected and reported.
Okay, the standard playbook. Someone sees a virus alert, they call the help desk, we open a ticket, we shut down the laptop.
Straightforward. Now, move to general considerations.
This is a good one. A general consideration here could be something like, understand the legal, ethical, and safety implications of shutting down or containing autonomous AI systems during an incident.
That sounds heavy. What does that mean?
It means that if your AI is running the HVAC system in a hospital, or managing the traffic lights for a city, or controlling a robotic arm in a factory, you can't just pull the plug the way you would with an infected laptop. The general consideration warns you that availability or even physical safety might trump confidentiality here. You have to think about the real-world impact.
Okay, pillar 1. Secure. How do we secure the AI from an incident perspective?
The question becomes, how do we detect if the AI model itself has been the subject of an incident? This is really hard. If an attacker slightly changes the weights of your financial model so that it secretly approves 1% more bad loans, how do you even notice that?
It's not a crash, it's not a virus, it's a silent, subtle drift.
Exactly. So the consideration under secure is implement continuous statistical monitoring for model drift, evasion attacks, and data poisoning. You aren't looking for a traditional virus signature. You are looking for bad math.
Okay, pillar 2. Defend. How can AI help us respond to incidents?
This is the fun part. The opportunity is clearly use GenAI to summarize incident data and generate reports.
I've seen demos of this. The AI reads the terabytes of logs from all the different systems and basically says, hey, it looks like this IP address from this country attacked server Y at 2:00 p.m. using this specific vulnerability.
It's a massive time saver for a stretched security team. But again, the consideration, verify the output. Do not let the AI hallucinate an attack that didn't happen, or worse, hallucinate that the attack is over when it really isn't. You need a human in the loop to confirm.
And finally, pillar 3, thwart. How do bad guys use AI to mess with our incident response?
This is the nightmare scenario. Adversarial AI. What if the malware is using AI to fight back against your response team in real time?
What does that even look like?
It looks like malware that senses when it is being analyzed in a sandbox and changes its behavior to look harmless. It looks like a botnet that changes its command and control traffic pattern every 3 seconds to avoid your network filters. The consideration here is one word: automation.
Fighting fire with fire.
You cannot fight an AI attack with a human at a keyboard. You are just too slow. The thwart column tells you you need machine speed response capabilities. You need a SOAR, platform security orchestration, automation, and response.
So again, the row transforms the task. Incident response goes from call days in IT to deploy autonomous hunter-killer bots to intercept the adaptive malware before it spreads.
That's slightly dramatic, but directionally that is exactly accurate. That's the mindset shift.
I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier because it's so important. The subjectivity, clause 2.2, is really, really emphatic that this is a subjective exercise.
It is, and that goes back to the standard practices rule. And the context is king idea. Every organization is different.
The text says, and I'm quoting here, the priority level of subcategories may be higher or lower for individual organizations based on characteristics of the environment, needs, risk tolerance, or other factors.
And that's NIST giving you permission to think for yourself.
Right. If you are a public library using AI to recommend books, thwarting sophisticated AI-enabled attacks might genuinely be a priority 3 for you. You aren't a high-value target for a nation state.
But if you're a bank or a power grid operator or a defense contractor, that is priority 1 with a bullet.
The profile allows you to adapt. It's not a straitjacket, it's a guide.
It's a blueprint, and you're allowed to move the walls if you need to. And honestly, this scares some people in the compliance world.
Why does that scare them? It sounds empowering.
Because people like checklists. They like being told exactly what to do. If a regulator or a standard like NIST says do X and you still get hacked, you can go to your board and say, well, I follow the standard. You have cover.
But if NIST says you decide if X is important and you decide it isn't and then you get hacked because of X,
then it's your fault. It requires the CISO and the risk committee to actually understand and own their risk model. You can't just outsource the thinking to a document.
But isn't that ultimately better for actual security?
It is infinitely better for security. It might be worse for simple compliance liability, maybe, but it's much, much better for actually securing the organization. Because a bank should have a different risk profile and a different set of priorities than a library. One size does not fit all.
Before we wrap up the structural tour, we need to talk about the document status. We mentioned IPD at the start, initial preliminary draft.
Right. This is clause 2.2, basically giving us a big work-in-progress warning sign.
There is a section in the text, a note to reviewers. What are they asking for? What kind of feedback does NIST want?
They're asking for everything. They want to know if the focus area descriptions make sense. They want more references to fill the gaps. But interestingly, they're asking a lot about the format.
Because right now, as we've said, it's a PDF of printable pages. It's static.
And let's be honest, using a 100-page PDF as a daily security management tool is painful. You can't sort it. You can't filter it. You can't easily integrate it into other tools.
And the document explicitly asks, what format would be useful? A spreadsheet, the NIST reference tool.
I think we can all agree a spreadsheet or an interactive web tool is the way to go. If I can filter the entire profile by priority 1 and secure focus area, I can build a strategic roadmap for my team in 10 minutes. In a PDF, that takes a week of manual highlighting.
But NIST isn't going to invest the time to build that unless the users, the community, demand it.
Correct. So if you are a listener who loves Excel, and I know you are out there, write to NIST. Tell them you want the .xlsx file. It's a real call for public comment.
And they also explicitly mention the references gap again.
Yes, they admit further literature review is ongoing. They know they don't have every important white paper and standard listed yet.
Which is impossible. I mean, there are probably 50 new AI security papers published every single day on Arc4.
Exactly. They are counting on the community academics, industry leaders, security vendors, to help them crowdsource this bibliography and keep it current.
So this is a living document in the truest sense of the word.
It is a snapshot of a very rapidly moving target. If you download this profile again in 6 months, I guarantee it will look different. There will be new considerations and new references.
Okay, let's bring it all home. We've unpacked the grid, we've looked at the columns, we've done the horizontal walk, we've fought the imaginary deepfake bots.
We have covered a lot of ground. I think we've successfully decoded clause 2.2.
So if you had to summarize the entire mission of the cyber AI profile in one sentence, what is it?
It is a forcing function. It forces your organization to perform a triple check on your entire security program through the lens of AI.
Yeah, so.
It forces you to ensure that you don't secure the new thing, the AI, while forgetting the old things, the fundamentals. And at the same time, it forces you to recognize that you can't just rely on the old things to protect you from the new threats that AI brings. It's about that balance.
It expands the scope of the CISO's job by a factor of 3.
At least. It's a huge expansion of the problem space.
And that leads me to my final provocative thought for the day, a bit of a provocation for our listeners to chew on.
Let's hear it.
The document mentions repeatedly that AI behavior is, and I'm quoting, contextual, dynamic, opaque, and harder to predict. It's a black box. We often don't know why a model does what it does.
That is the fundamental challenge, yes.
Yet for many, many areas, dozens of rows in these tables, the profile relies on that phrase we loved. Standard cybersecurity practices apply.
It does. It leans on it heavily.
My question to you and to our listener is this. Are we over-relying on old methods? If the adversary is operating at machine speed, if they can generate 1,000 unique phishing emails a minute, or rewrite their malware code in real time to evade every signature, is a standard practice firewall configuration or a standard practice annual security training seminar really enough? Or does the very concept of standard practice need to be reinvented for the AI age?
That is the billion-dollar question, isn't it? You are asking if the profile is, perhaps, too conservative. If it's telling us to polish our bronze shields when the enemy has invented gunpowder.
Exactly. Are standard practices enough when the threat is no longer standard?
It's a valid challenge. I think the profile's current answer is yes, for now, the fundamentals are still the most important thing. It operates on the assumption that even an AI-powered attacker can be stopped by good hygiene patching, strong identity, good logs.
But will that always be true?
I suspect that answer might change in the next version of this document, or the one after that.
Wow.
Eventually, the new standard practice might mean having your own defensive AI sentinel. Eventually, humans might just be too slow to be in the loop for incident response at all.
We might be reading the last cybersecurity manual written primarily for humans.
That is a chilling thought, but a plausible one. For today, for 2026, this document is the tool we have, and it is a very, very good one.
It is. It's a starting point, and it's something to mull over as you stare at your own security dashboards. That's it for this deep dive into the NIST Cyber AI profile. We really encourage you to pick up the document. It's free, it's online, and just read one row. Start with one, see where the matrix takes you,
Stay curious.
and keep decoding. Thanks for listening.